I'd like to call to order the November 28th, 2023 meeting of the Code Enforcement and Nuisance Board. Roll call.
Earbone.
Here.
Holman.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Harmon.
Here.
LaPointe.
Here. All right, we will entertain a motion for them to approve the minutes. Actually, do we have any comments? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the October 24th meeting.
Motion. Second.
All right, LaPointe, Holman, roll call.
Earbone.
Yes.
Holman.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes. We will now move to our hearing agenda.
Item number 1 is a contractor's licensing board case, case number 2023-5330. This is an appeal to citation number 2023-11127 in the amount of $400 for the property location at 3219 Nashville Road. The property owner is Hillview Heights Baptist Church, and the respondent is Quality Security and Surveillance, LLC. The respondents, Darren Kirby and Pam Kirby, are here in the office, or here in the audience with us, and Officer Holly Warren will present the case.
Thank you, and I forgot to do one thing before we get started. So if the staff will stand up to be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? All right, thank you. All right.
This case is really straightforward. We have a local licensing law that requires all contractors to have a contractor's license. So this particular company did not have a contractor's license on October 25th, 2023, when we found them working on Nashville Road, 3219 Nashville Road. And they were given a violation at that time with an expired license and expired insurance. So that was on the 25th of October. Now, just a little backstory, this particular company has been licensed since 2004, so they know all about the licensing. However, they don't like to renew it. So we have trouble getting them to renew. They didn't, they had a code enforcement again last year for the same thing. And it's just that they have the insurance, they just don't provide us a copy. And they did call the day that they got the violation, and Steve on site told them that it was a warning, it wasn't a citation. That was the violation notice. They were supposed to renew their license and provide insurance. They were also outstanding on that citation that we wrote last year. They haven't paid that as of today. But this was the second time catching them, so it was a second offense. So it's $100 usually for expired license and $100 for for expired insurance. It was $200 for each offense, so that made the citation fine $400. Now, as of, they got the citation and then they did provide the information and did renew the license. They're now current, so we're just asking that you uphold the amount, the citation amount. So they are now in compliance.
They're in compliance except for the 200 prior one?
The $200 that they owe the city from the 2022 citation has not been paid. So they're not in compliance with that one.
You may have had it in here, I may have missed it. When did they first license with the city?
2004 was their original license, then they let it lapse in 2005. Then they got it back in, hold on, I wrote this down. They got it back in 2008, they let it lapse in 2010. They got it in 2010. At the end of the year, they let that one lapse in 2014, and then they had no license up until 2022.
Do we have anybody here representing? All right.
My name is Pam Kirby. I'm one of the owners.
Mind if I swear you in?
Oh.
All right. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? All right, go right ahead.
So what Holly said is true, but we didn't realize it was true. I had attempted many times to get our insurance, which is renewed in May, to their office by fax and by email. Evidently, it wasn't going through. The last time I spoke with her or Heather, I thought it went through that time because I heard nothing else out of them. So we had no idea. I thought 2022 was all right as well, because we provided our insurance. So, but on the specific day that we were there, that is our home church. So, but we did put the camera system in. We did not put in the ones that we were working. We were just trying to get our church's cameras working because we're building an extension to it and they need to be working in case there's an accident. So I was in the church. He was working on the camera on a pole in our parking lot, and the enforcement officer came up and told him he was going to have to cite him for us not being in compliance, at which time he called me because I honestly did think that we had provided them our insurance. Our insurance, and I believe your rollover date or your fiscal date is it on August?
May 9th.
It's in May?
Yeah, your insurance rollover.
Right. Okay. I thought, okay. I was told that their fiscal year started in August, so,
Oh, your license renews in August. Yes.
okay, my license, okay. So between May and the date of this, again, we tried many times to get it to them. I thought it was there. Our insurance has never lapsed. Yeah, I was sending it to the incorrect email. Her name is Heather Causey, and I was sending it to Heather Coursey, I believe. So I grew up with a lot of Courseys, and I just got it mixed up. However, back to on this date. So I come out there, and we have a discussion, and we said, well, we provided the insurance. And so, long story short, he said, I'm not going to give you a citation. We're going to give you a warning. This is a warning only. And he stressed that over and over and over again. He didn't tell us you have 2 hours. So this was at 2:30, I believe, 2:15. We had 2 hours and 15 minutes with which to rectify this, or it became a citation. That's what I've been told by people here in the office of code enforcement. So when he told me it was a warning, if you get a warning from a police officer, he still hands you a piece of paper. I guess I should have taken it more seriously, but he said it was a warning. And I had every intentions of providing them with our insurance. I always had. I thought I had already. So, but again, he stressed over and over, this is not a citation. It's not a citation, it's a warning. So then when we got the certified mail that we owed $400, we were like, I believe I even called to code enforcement. I spoke with Heather, and then I spoke with another member of your staff, and Heather said there was nothing she could do. And that was basically it. Both of us were there. We wouldn't lie about what was said. I mean, we're working for our church, so, I mean, I know all church people don't always tell the truth, but we wouldn't lie for it. I wouldn't lie for it. Do you have anything to? I have to be sworn in?
I'll swear you in. Yeah. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? All right, if you'd give us your name.
Aaron Kirby.
Okay.
And the thing about it is, that gets me on the most is, which I haven't had a ticket since in 20-some odd years on driving, but when I had a ticket in the past, the police officer, he would give you a ticket and he would tell you that, you've got this amount of time to rectify it and pay it.
The microphone up.
Oh, I'm sorry. And so now I'm really nervous. But anyways, if he would have told us at that particular time, when he wrote it at 2:15, that you need to get this taken care of by 4:30, then we would have stopped what we were doing and would have got that taken care of. We didn't know. I didn't know it. I was up on a lift working. I knew we had this, but I figured we would look at it, the next day or so, because it was a citation or
No, it was a warning.
violation warning. So that's my only thought on this right here. To me, it just seems like he should have told us, you've got a couple of hours to get this taken care of. And if he would have done that, then we would have stopped what we was doing and had it done. But again, I actually, when he approached me, I was like, that's all taken care of. I mean,
He was having an argument with him, actually.
she's done sent it in. It's all been taken care of. I said, I don't know why you're even here. But come to find out, I didn't realize she's been sending it to the wrong email. We've had insurance all along. It was just being able to get it to the proper people. That's the thing with this deal right here. So just to let you know where I feel where we're at.
So when it came to the time frame, did the officer give them the 2-hour notice to get this taken care of?
I interviewed the officer when he got back on the phone with him. Heather was on the phone. When we entered the name in to give him the address for quality, security, and surveillance, we noticed that they were a repeat offender in our system and had an open citation. We normally give at least 24 hours on these, but because of their history, we gave them till the end of business to at least contact our office and get something in motion. She did contact our office that day. However, we waited 2 days before we issued that citation, and we didn't see a payment or an insurance certificate come in before we issued it. That was on a Wednesday. We mailed the citation on a Friday.
I did speak with Heather Causey that day. We had sent the payment in. They said they had not received it. The payment's never been at issue. It's been the insurance. But Heather didn't, we have thousands and thousands of transactions, and I told her I would have to go back through our bank transactions and see if it had cleared, and if not, I would give her my credit card. And the next thing we got was the letter in the mail. So I promise you, the officer never gave us a time limit. He never said that it could even convert into a citation. He stressed over and over and over and over, this is only a warning. So.
You guys hadn't been aware of still owing on the previous?
No, I thought that had been taken care of, so that's my fault, so I have no problem with paying that. And again, we thought we were in compliance, or it wouldn't have been, he wouldn't have had the words with the officer to begin with that required me to walk out there, because I can't do a lot of walking to begin with, so it wasn't something I wanted to do, was go out there.
So of the $400 being discussed this evening, $200 has been paid, correct?
No, 200 was from the previous citation. The 400 today is just this offense. The previous 200 that's still outstanding is a citation that was written in 2022 to this company for the same thing. And so it was never paid. They did come in compliance, but they didn't pay the fine at the city. So now this one is second offense. It's $400, and they have once again complied with our office, but haven't paid the city.
I guess what my biggest thing is, it says that you mailed 3 letters. Do they get a letter and the insurance office gets a letter
Yes,
as well?
so their insurance lapsed in May of '23, and they were, May 9th of '23 was their expiration date on the insurance certificate. So what we did is sent a letter June 1st to the insurance companies. That's the first thing we do.
Sure.
We didn't get a response, so then we sent them a letter on June 17th. I have a list of all the letters that we sent, and we didn't get a response from that. So they've had, and then they got a cancellation letter, because we canceled the license on July 14th,
The insurance,
2023.
the insurance lapsed or the card was just expired?
The certificate was expired that we
Expired.
had in our office.
Okay.
Their coverage apparently hasn't
Sure,
lapsed.
sure.
But the certificate expired in our office, so we sent a notice to the insurance company, got nothing. We sent a notice to them, got nothing. We finally sent a cancellation letter saying you can't do business anymore until you give us your insurance. Got nothing. Didn't hear from them until now.
Yeah, okay.
May I say something else? If I'd gotten a cancellation letter, we wouldn't have done business. I didn't get it.
I've got a copy.
I believe that you sent it. There are a lot of Kirby's that live on my road, and trust me, they get mail as much as I do.
Ma'am, the insurance office also got it too, though. So I'm not sure. Typically, I guess the insurance company handles it. Is that all across the board?
We first contact the insurance.
Okay.
And then if we don't get a response, then we go to it's just a courtesy.
It's an insurance company in,
It's called Cover Wallet.
right, it's online. But it's legitimate insurance, and it's never lapsed. I understand it's lapsed with your office.
Right, just the certificate's expired.
Do you get regular correspondence from them regarding things? If they're the ones you're working with, are you getting correspondence regardless of whether it's
My
from-
insurance company?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
got nothing from them either.
It's
So-
I guess what I'm trying to get across, typically the insurance company is the one that handles it, correct? Okay.
Heather, I've got a license question. When it expired in May, did the license expire in May too? When did it expire?
August 22nd was the expiration date, but it was canceled July 14th for no insurance. So they didn't get a renewal to renew it because it was canceled for no insurance.
That's what I was going to ask. So they didn't get notice.
So they didn't
just
get a
automatically
renewal
canceled.
notice. We stopped all correspondence on July 14th after the cancellation letter.
And because I didn't get a cancellation letter, I didn't know the other. So, again, I thought we were in compliance. I knew that there was an issue with the emails getting to Heather. I thought I had corrected that, and I thought she had it.
Why hasn't the other been paid yet? I see that you paid.
We took care of it. I didn't realize there was an outstanding bill.
How do you, what do you mean you took care of it? How'd you take care of it? Because it's still
He was
outstanding,
working,
correct?
he was working at UAW, and what did they give you a paper like this? Anyway, I sent the insurance in just like I did this time. I didn't realize that we owed that $200. Obviously, we got this information. And I even tell people that are our customers, if you're going to send a large check, don't send it by mail. It's just that, it just happens. I
So
can't-
you contend you paid the $200, but we don't have it, right? Is that,
No, they paid to renew the license with our office, but the fine goes to you all at the city, and they didn't pay the fine amount for the original citation, and they didn't pay the fine amount for this one, they're sending you all the whole motion. So, but they did pay to renew the license in our office.
Again, make sure I'm not confused here, because I may want to confuse myself. In August, when the renewal came up, they didn't get a renewal letter, but they also did not renew.
Correct.
Any other conversation, any other questions or comments? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $400.
second?
Harmon, Holman, roll call.
Beerbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Lapointe.
Yes.
All right, we will now move to old business. Thank you.
Item number 2 is a planning and zoning case, case number 2023-1124. This is an appeal to citation number 2023-7871 in the amount of $1,200 for the property location at 2341 Russellville Road. The property owner is Royal Investments BG, and the respondent is Omar Alrawi. Thank you. He is in the audience this evening. Officer James Hetty will present the case.
Good evening, thank you. To start off, this slide, it shows the approved landscape plan. And please note the different trees and the different shrubs that are required. And it's, this is pertaining to the front of the property. I'm going to show you on the next slides the different photos that represent the landscaping. But anyway, on this it shows 4 deciduous trees and quite a few shrubs and an island back on the left back corner. Brad, can we go to the next one? Oh, this might be the beginning. Yeah, can you skip all the way to, I'm sorry. The first part of the slide was the appeal meeting that we had back in August. All right, I went out the 16th of November, and as you can see, there's some landscaping here. However, they didn't follow the approved landscaping plan. There's no deciduous trees, and Brad, can you go to the next one? There's supposed to be a whole row of landscaping and landscaping buffer, 10-foot buffer along that right side, which would require some of the asphalt to be removed. And so the approved landscape plan wasn't followed. This slide shows the approved landscape plan, but it's down to, how many square foot requirements for the landscape buffers, but also the required plantings. These next couple of slides, it shows the screening in the back of the property. I found this was on the 20th of November. I went out, and there's a fence installed. Unfortunately, though, there's no Bowling Green City fence permit or building permit that I could locate. So I failed to obtain a building permit for this fence. And I'm on the back part of the the next parcel, which is a RM4, zoned RM4. It's an apartment complex. And the requirement for screening would be to totally screen that what's behind the fence there. So we had a meeting in January of this year, 17th, as a pre-app meeting. We went over if you put in a fence, the screening, the different requirements that you could have a combination, but either the fence has to screen everything behind that, or you can have some plantings, continuous plantings, earth and berm. So there was different requirements that we went over back in January. But what I found on the 20th when I went out was an unpermitted fence, and it didn't meet the screening requirements. And is this the last one? Okay. This one shows there's the gravel showing it's not permitted in the highway business district. And I failed to find any permit applications referenced any site work that they might be doing. This one, and I think the next one shows the wrecked vehicles too, that's not permitted in a highway business. They'd need to be removed, and/or seek a flume amendment, a zone change, and a conditional use permit to allow this waste-related use to continue, but none of that has been applied for. So as of today, the property is still out of compliance.
Representative for this case. Swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Swear.
All right, if you give us your name and go forward.
Omar Al Rawi. I'm the owner of Royal Motor Cars and Royal Investments, BG LLC, which is the owner of the building.
Want to give us your side?
Yes, sir. Yeah, as you guys see right here, that's true. Actually, like we still working. We still like in the progress of like getting this done. And as you guys see, like I'm trying to get everything done, squared out. Like we put the fence, we put like the gravel. So basically, we're almost there. Actually, the cars in the back, the car. Junk cars, I would call them, not red cars. Junk cars, like this is part of my business, so we put them all the way behind the fence so we can do like finish the grading on this area. So we almost there, like we still got a couple maybe loads to grade the area. So they should be in, Mr. James, like here in the next few days. They should be like inside the fence. If you guys see the opening, we ordered the doors on for the fence on both sides, front and back. So they should be in like here very soon in the next few days. So I would say like, everything should be done within a week or 2 weeks. So the permit, honestly, I didn't know that we need a permit to put a fence. That's something I just realized right now, that we need a permit to put a fence on the building. So that's on the back part. But like, I think most of the work being done right now. So we almost, I would say like about 80 to 90% like complying with the city requirements. So, and as you guys know, this project costs a lot of money. This is nothing gonna be done like within a day or two. So yeah, I took my time because I needed like, some time for the fund, workforce, like, order some material, and we done this like, in I would say amazing time. So I spent like, honestly, from my own money, which is still my building, my money, my business, but like I spent over $30,000, like, to put this things. So I've been like, put a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of time to get this done. So I think just give me like a few days, or maybe a couple of weeks, I would say maximum, and everything will be done here, like or according to the requirement. The front part of the building, which is the landscaping, we done the front part. Yes, maybe they don't look the same as we approved, but actually I didn't do that. Like the ASCE, like which is the surveying company, they put like this type of landscaping back there. Like when we applied for the permit, maybe 2001, I believe, 2021. So I spoke to them, and they said like you can still use like something alternative, something gonna serve your business. And then we chose like what available like in the market right now. So like the other ones, like they didn't like they were like not available in the market, honestly, not in the nursery homes. So that's what they had that time, and they were cheaper, like way cheaper too, to be honest, really. So we purchased that, and to comply with the city requirement. On the other side, the right side, I spoke to the contractor on like for the on the other side from the apartment buildings. So they still use the driveway, like which is kind of like in between us. Like this is something we both use. So they say they'll be done like here very soon, like with their landscaping. So like we agreed both together, we're gonna work on that and get this done on the right side. So this thing will be done too soon. I'm just try to get everything done like, in the right time, to be honest with you. But like, it'll be done, definitely.
But you agree it's out of compliance presently, right?
It's not like out of compliance, but like it's almost there. Spending this time, spending all of that money, that doesn't mean I'm out of compliance. I'm working on that. I've done like a lot of progress, honestly. And as I said, like, this thing needs a lot of fun. This is not gonna come like, like one time right away. No, it's gonna need time. And I've done it from my own pocket, which is my business, my building. I understand that, like, but I did it, yes. So I've done a lot of work. And I admit maybe there's a couple things like out of compliance, but like, we're still working on it. So I almost finished 80%, I would say. There's still maybe 20% left, and definitely it'll be done. Yes, I'm not gonna leave it like that, no.
Jahedi, he had said about 80, somewhere between 80, 90% completion. Would you say that's a correct figure, percentage?
No, what I've shown, it's not to what any of the requirements are. If we go back to that, Brad, if you can go back to the landscaping, which we had that discussion in May, reference to the deciduous trees. Those are red maples, and they're supposed to be in the front. That's an approved landscape plan. That's been submitted and approved. That was in 2020. So it hadn't been installed since then. But to the right, if he's got issues with the neighbor over there using that asphalt is existing. It's to the left of that asphalt, existing asphalt. There's a 10-foot buffer that needs to go in there. So that travelway, matters not to this property. In that back corner back there shows the landscaping island that requires a deciduous red maple tree. I don't know what's preventing that one from being installed.
Which one? The one on the right or the left, you mean, Mr. James?
Yeah, when you're looking at the building, this
Yeah.
is like looking at the left is what's called a landscape island.
That's next to the mailbox, is that right? There's a mailbox there.
That's beside you have existing pavement and the new pavement. The new pavement is the darker colored. So it's right at where the existing pavement is.
Probably that's next to the mailbox, I think, which is that's next to the driveway, right? When you enter the building?
It's on that left side, yes.
Yeah, so probably that's next to
So-
the mailbox. We have a mailbox
So
there.
what I want to reinforce, that this landscaping plan has been approved and it's not being followed.
Most of the plans, they were approved. Actually, they're not available in the market, to be honest. Like, that's number one. Number two, they don't serve my purpose. I don't know why they approved. I mean, the surveying company, when they done the work, when I applied for the permit, it was like through Stewart and Ritchie back then. This was before the COVID, I believe. And I didn't have any clue what kind of, plans they're going to use until and I start involved myself in doing that. Then I said, hey, there's a bunch of landscaping. They don't serve my purpose, which is my business type, which is the car business. Kind of large trees, like bunch of landscaping. And I spoke to ASCE the other day before we put these plants, and they said yeah, they should be good too, because they mostly evergreen. So that's the main purpose of having the landscaping. So use something alternative, and they should be good. That's what they advised me to do, really. Which is they were cheaper too. Available in the market, cheaper, and they're gonna serve the same purpose. That's what they said, literally.
So when it got to the point of saying that this no longer fits your purpose or anything, did you make contact with Mr. Hady or anybody to let them know, seeing as how this was the agreed upon plan? You said you kind of took it upon yourself to kind of make those changes.
Honestly, no, I didn't get in contact, but I got in touch with him, I think, after we got it done, yes.
So why not beforehand? Why not explain that to him or have that conversation with him before you got into actually making those changes?
I think we spoke about that in the beginning, I think earlier, this year, and he didn't mention anything, to be honest with you, on getting this approved, but I did this by myself, yes, I admit that. I didn't get in touch with him. I asked him what we should do. He said and I told him this type of plants, they're not available, or landscaping. And he said I don't know, just see what's available there, or try to find it. And yes, and I did this by myself. So I spoke to ASCE, and they said he can. The purpose of having this something evergreen, something gonna last forever. And I asked him if that's something we can do, this type of plants or landscaping. They said yeah, he can still do it. They didn't tell me but they said, yeah, you can still do it, they're going to be evergreen too, type of vegetation or plants or landscaping. So I went ahead and done that.
So this, technically, by you going and doing it differently puts you, and I take, if I'm saying this incorrectly, puts you further out of compliance because you have to now, what you've done in order to get into compliance, you'd have to redo all of that in order to get into compliance. So I know you say you've spent a lot of money on
Right,
this.
correct.
You've actually put yourself deeper in a hole in order to do which has been agreed upon between you and planning and zoning. So that's where I'm.
So I'm not sure, like, if that's something we can reapply again, like, to save, like, the money that we spend, and definitely, like, something gonna serve our purpose. I don't wanna have, like, big maple trees in the front of the building, and I'm selling cars there. It don't make sense to me. I'm not saying, like, the compliance, but, like, it don't make sense to me, like, if I can use something alternative, and we can apply for maybe, if that's something, Mr. like James can work with me on it, or you guys, can work with me on that too. So, but like as I told you, I spoke to the surveyor, like the surveying company, and they say like, yeah, they're evergreen too, so they will serve the same purpose. And I've seen like a lot of businesses, they've done the same type of like landscaping. So that's why I went ahead and chose like, what they got available in the market, really.
I had a question about the fence real quick
yes.
too, make
Yes,
sure I
sir.
understand. Are you saying that the fence in the back is also not compliant with the
That's
plan that they
correct.
put?
It doesn't screen. What the intent is to, you've got to the screening so as to completely block the view of what is enclosed. I can clearly, well, you can see where I'm at right there. You can see the vehicles. That fence alone would not fit the screening requirements.
And make sure I understand, I think what you said, moving the junk cars inside that fence is still not in compliance with the zoning ordinance.
No, that's highway business, so to operate with the waste-related use, need a flume, which is a future land use amendment, map amendment, and a zone change, and a conditional use permit.
The junk cars in the back, as I said, like they'll be in here in the next few days. Like we just like put them outside so we can work on the area, because they cannot like move equipments, and like there was a lot of like dump trucks and.
Even if you move them in that,
Uh-huh.
it's not screened. So it matters not where they're located there on that property, I can see them.
And if you stay like if you're gonna be on the hill, definitely you're gonna see them. So I don't know how can I.
Those apartments are right, but
So,
I'm
I mean, when I bought the building, when I established my business, there was no apartment. So that's what I've been doing. So now if they put something new, okay, I don't mind to compliance with the, requirement, but like, I mean, there's no way to hide them. I mean, I don't know how to hide them, to be honest with you. Maybe we can cover them, really? I mean, actually, like, these are junk cars. We use them for parts. It's part of the business, We, and instead of like buying parts and, and expensive stuff, so we have some cars that we can use, like, recycle them basically. And we don't keep them there for a while. Like we just, every often we have several vehicles, we use parts out of them and then we just junk them later on. We just send them to the scrap metal places. So this is part of my business, and I don't mind, as I said, like, I try to compliance, like, I mean, as much as I could, like, which is like to meet everybody requirement or the city requirements. So, but this thing is part of my business too. There was no apartment, there was no neighbor beside me, like when I purchased this place, when I established my business. So they put now they put like new buildings and everything beside me. So what I need to do, like just be out of business? I mean,
the zone change, your zoned highway business, and that does not allow.
and they're gonna be they're gonna be hidden inside, like, I mean, if you're gonna be on the hill, like I can see right now from the pictures, the photo you taken, I think you kind of like way on the hill, I believe, which is, you can see them definitely. They're not like small pieces, but like.
Actually, I'm in the parking lot. The apartment is, the people in the apartments are higher than where I am.
Right.
I'm in the parking lot. So
We
the bottom
could-
line, it's to continue use with waste related, he'd have to have a flume, a zone change, and a conditional use permit. That's not allowed in highway business. So,
Junk cars, period, not allowed in a highway
period.
business.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
So if
correct.
that's the issue, junk cars, I can get rid of them just to compliance. If that's like, I mean, I can get rid of them. It's not a big deal, just to compliance. I'm not against that. If that's Mr. James Hardy gonna say yes, okay, I don't mind. That's fine, I mean, it's not gonna hurt myself, or my feelings, so.
Reinforce, we had a discussion in January and this has been, it's almost a year, so these waste-related activity or uses is prohibited.
Does he need to remove the fence?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt, but we didn't talk about getting rid of that. We didn't tell him, like, we have to get rid of it. He told me, like, if we're gonna have a fence, if we're gonna compliance, like, definitely we're gonna have, like, this type of activity, that's why I'm doing all of that, just to save my business, too. So this was the main idea of having, like, 30 or 40, I think it's close to $40,000, like, fence right now with the grading and everything there, just to save my business. That's what I done that. Now you tell me, like, if you tell me we cannot do that, so, I mean, don't make sense to me right now to do that. I mean, why spend all of that money, then I can do nothing? I mean.
The fence is in addition to other things. We spoke about the required screening shall consist of continuous plantings, opaque fence, wall or earthen berm, or combination thereof, so as to completely block the view of what is enclosed. The average height of the screening material shall be 1 foot more than the parts or vehicles to be screened, or 8 feet, whichever is greater. When plant material is utilized for screening, the plant material must be able to provide 100% occupancy within 3 years. So that fence alone is not what we talked about. We talked about screening would be the complete screening of what's behind there. So, so now, as that stands, it's out of compliance with landscaping, with the gravel, with the waste-related use, with the screening.
What do you mean by the gravel? What's wrong with the gravel?
Yes, in highway business, the gravel's not permitted.
So what we should have, because that's what we agreed on, I think, that's what I've been told. And gravel should be okay if we're gonna park cars on it, like with wheels and as a storage, and that's what we're doing it right now.
Yeah, the notice of violation was remove the gravel, or you can go through the site work permit application and pave it.
And there's no way to pave that in the back. I mean, so gravel, that's what my understanding was, like gravel should be all right. I think when we had this meeting with the commission, the zoning, I believe, and they said, like, yes, like, gravel should be all right if we're going to use it as a storage, like, area for the vehicles back there. And that's what we got, like, this is part of my business. Like, we use this, the area or the lot in the back just to store vehicle, like, until, like, it's a process. This is part of my business process. Like, we get the cars, we park them there until we get them done. Fixed if they need to be fixed, like, cleaned up, detail, and then take them to the front. This is kind of like, a work process. So we don't keep cars there forever,
If the screening, if there's proper screening, then it's no longer outdoor storage, considered outdoor storage. So, but there's not proper screening is what it
I mean,
boils down to.
this was my understanding, to have a fence, to fence the back lot, and, I mean, make everything looks good, and that's what I'm doing now. I believe, that's what I'm trying to do, because that's what's available in the market, actually, fences, and I think that's one of the good fences that they have in the market right now. I cannot, like, have something customized for me, like maybe 15 or 20 foot, just to hide everything in the back. It's just cars. I'm not putting, like, nothing in the back, just cars. They're going to be there, like, for a few days, like, until we take them to the front and put them for sale. I mean, I know if you have issue with the junk cars in the back, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I understand that's something we have to compliance, which is I don't mind to get rid of them. I can call the junk place or the scrap yard and let them take them, which is still fine. I know I'm going to lose some money, in this deal, but that's fine. This is not, part of the, y'all job, but, like, I still have to save my business. That's what I'm doing right now, saving my business, saving my building too. And I don't mind to compliance with everything that you guys say, but, like, something with the limit, something that I can work with. Nothing like, out of my hand. Something like, okay, put me out of business. I don't think that makes sense to everybody, really. Yes, sir.
My thought is, after we've made our vote, whatever, the conversation needs to be with Mr. Hetty, and it needs to be an intensive conversation, an explicit one, where you're on the exact same page as them, because this was an agreed to document. This wasn't, just something this is agreed to. So no matter what we decide, you are going to have to follow that, or else you're going to be back in the same situation, same spot over and over again. You either need to make some amendments and changes that are agreed upon with them, or you're going to keep going around in the circle. So, I mean, we can haggle over the issues all night and never come to an agreement. But whatever comes of this, that needs to be a hand-in-hand conversation and partnership with planning and
Yes.
zoning.
And that's what I'm trying to do here. Like, so that's what I think we had this conversation before. We had the meeting with the zoning too. I forgot the lady's name, but that's what they suggested us to do, like use a gravel, to maybe we can use it as a storage for the area in the back. So this was part of my understanding to put back there.
So I was present in the meeting in January that James is referring to, and so we discussed two separate options. The first that James has mentioned about trying to amend the future land use map, rezone the property, get a conditional use permit, just to allow the use to continue. In our discussion, it seemed that that option was going to be much more challenging than maybe exploring some alternative options, which is when we looked at this section of the reference that's on the screen right now. Where it says that areas enclosed by solid opaque walls on at least 3 sides and not visible from any right-of-way or adjacent property shall not be considered outdoor. So the violation here is that there's outdoor storage of parts, vehicles, things that are visible from the adjacent property. So as James mentioned, this fence that's installed, while a fence or a wall of some sort may be an option, the height of this fence doesn't adequately meet this requirement as mentioned in the ordinance. And so if there were an option presented where we had screening that was not visible from, like where James is standing in this photo, you can clearly see over the fence. So the issue is that you can still see it even though there is some sort of screening that's provided. So this was really the only option that we could come up with to where the property could still remain zoned highway business if it meets the criteria that's listed on the screen right now. So there were two options that we discussed. It sounds like you've chosen not to pursue the rezoning option, which is fine, but we still have to find an option where the site can then comply with this requirement, along with the landscaping. And so when you spoke with ACES, they're correct to say that there are other options. We have an entire plant list. It's probably, 3 or 4 pages long. And so you can go in and select different types of plantings as long as they fall into a specific type of plant, whether that be a shrub or a deciduous tree or an evergreen tree. So we can look at approving an alternate landscape plan. It's just that that information hasn't been provided to us. And what's been planted on the property so far would not meet the requirements.
That's correct. Thank you.
More questions from,
So previously, you said junk cars not on a highway business property, period. But it sounds like if the proper screening is in place, it would be allowed, right?
That's correct.
Okay. You did provide this landscaping plan, correct?
Yes.
That was under
This
your
was provided actually back then, I think 2021.
Right,
I
but
believe,
you supervised the submission of that plan?
Yeah, part of it.
And then supervised the deviation from it?
No, sir, the permit was, okay, this landscaping plan was submitted by Stewart and Ritchie back then, because I had a deal with them to work on, because they were working on my building and they were supposed to do that too. So they applied and they back off because they had some kind of issues with their timing. So they said and then I think this was kind of COVID time, if I'm not mistaken, and everything was changed after that. So we canceled the work with them, and then we decided to do it again. Actually, with
They submitted it on your behalf?
yes, yeah, which is yes, a few. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And could I just ask, what height is this fence that was installed?
I think it's a standard. So
6 foot?
6 foot. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a standard. That's what available in the market. So.
And there's still the buffer issue, right, in the front of the property.
Yes,
So
that's correct.
the plants are still too far forward.
The front is probably fine. It's the right side. There's that existing I guess, asphalt alley, or not really alley, but existing asphalt travelway. In between that and his parking, there needs to be a 10-foot landscape buffer. So unfortunately, some of that asphalt has to be removed.
Okay.
To
Just
allow the
I don't
landscape.
mind doing that, like, as I said earlier. I don't mind doing it, like, just give me some time until, like, they get done with their, like, it's just like, a lot of equipment, a lot of things going on between us and them. So I will do it, definitely. I will compliance with that. Like, that's not an issue, really. I mean, just give me some time to get this done, and it'll be done. This is something, it'll be done, definitely. I mean, just like, it takes time, I understand. I appreciate, like, you're patient with us, but, like, things, I mean, things happen, so. But, like, yeah, definitely, like, they have a lot of work between us, like, between my car lot and the building, actually, and the new apartment buildings. So a lot of equipment in and out, a lot of things. So I said, okay, and I know they're going to get some landscaping done on their part, too, on their, like, side. So I'll be doing my side after they, maybe at the same time when they get it done. But that's something definitely I will do, yes.
Other questions?
Thank you, sir.
The cars, the junk cars, if that's something we cannot, like, keep inside the fence, if you want me to get rid of them, I mean, I don't mind, just the compliance. So if that's an issue, I mean, unless there's, like, any alternative solution, we can maybe tarp him, but put covers on him. I don't know if that's something we can still work on.
Now, it comes to if the fence, there'd be an addition to the fence, like the continuous, it'd be more landscaping, pretty much. The planting of trees that will, in 3 years, be 100% coverage.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $1,200.
Second.
Dearbone, Holman, roll call?
Dearbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. All right, we will now move to new business.
Item number 3 is a code compliance case, case number 2023-3207. This is a request for authorization to issue a per-day fine citation for the property located at 811 10th Avenue East. The property owner is Tina Hutchinson, and Officer Sonia Duderick will present the case.
This case was passed down to me. It was original result of proactive inspection by Officer Langlois on 5/26/2023. During that inspection, he observed missing protective treatment, missing stairways, decks, porches, and balconies. He sent an NOV to the PVA listed owner on the address with the compliance inspection date of 6/26/2023. On 6/15, the Officer Langlois spoke with the owner, and she requested more time. As you can see in the picture, this is the front entrance, front porch, with holes in it. The railing was falling off. On 7/7, I received this case. I called the owner who requested more time. I advised her I can give her 2 more weeks to make arrangements and asked that she call me regarding the arrangements and plan for reinspection. On 7/27, I re-inspected the property and it remained in violation. I issued a first citation, posted it on the property, and sent it via first class and certified mail to PBA listed owner with a reinspection date of 8/7/2023 with a following violations: insufficient protective treatment, insufficient missing stairways, decks, porches, and balconies, chimney in disrepair, insufficient missing handrail and guardrails, duty of maintenance of private property, accumulation of construction, demolition and landscaping, and exterior use of storage of indoor furniture. This is the first citation I posted on that property. The railings around that front porch were taken down, but they were still on the property. The holes in the front porch were still there. There's one where the one that was covered with plywood and the one to the right of it. Actually, there's one all the way in the back of the porch behind the table and swing chair, as you can see on that top picture, and the chimney where it's in disrepair. In the back, there's some construction material, furniture, protective treatment that's missing on the back side of the house. On 8/9, I re-inspected the property, which remained in violation. A second citation was issued, posted on the property, and sent via first class and certified mail to PVA listed owner with a re-inspection date of 8/21/2023. As you can see on the pictures, there was no improvement at all. Actually, my first citation was posted along with the second. The chimney's still there, the holes in the porch, the same furniture out back, the same construction material, all that's still there. On 8/24, I re-inspected the property and it remained in violation. A third citation was issued, posted on the property, and sent via first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner with a inspection date listed of 9/5/2023. Again, with no, as you can see in the pictures, there's no improvement. Nothing was moved, the chimney still in disrepair, the front porch still has the holes. It's all the same as the first day that I received this case. On 9/26, code compliance manager spoke with the property owner. 9/6/2023. Code compliance manager spoke with the property owner with regards to violation at several of her properties. They arranged time to go over all the violations, including this property. They communicated on 9/14, 9/20, 9/26, 10/12, 10/27, and 10/30. But the owner still has not met to develop a plan to bring properties up to code. All possible attempts have been exhausted to get this property owner to bring the property into compliance. We have received multiple complaints regarding this property as well. The case has been open 186 days. As of today, still stands the same. The railing's still missing. The holes in the porch still the same. The chimney's still the same. There's a tree that fell in the backyard, along with all that construction material and everything.
Questions? All right.
I'll make a motion to authorize issuance of a per-day fine and citation amount of $100 to run a period of 60 days or until compliant.
I'll second.
Point Harmon, roll call?
Earbone.
Yes.
Holman.
Yes?
Yes.
Gonzalez. Harmon.
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Item number 4 is a code compliance case, case number 2023-4367. This is a request for an authorization to issue a per-day fine citation for the property located at 547 Starboard Court. The property owner is Christopher Harless, and Officer Sonia Duderick will present the case.
The case was a result of proactive inspection on 8/7/23. The first inspection and violations were observed, a roof not maintained in good condition. I sent an NOV to PVA listed owner and an address with a compliance inspection date of 9/7/23. On 9/8, the property was re-inspected and remained in violation. On 9/15, I researched contact information, left voicemails at multiple numbers hoping to reach an owner. On 10/5, I re-inspected the property. It remained in violation. A first citation was issued, posted on the property, and sent by first class and certified mail to PBA listed owner with a reinspection date of 10/16/2023. On 10/18, I re-inspected the property. It remained in violation. A second citation was issued, posted on the property, and sent to first class and certified mail to PBA listed owner with a reinspection date of 10/30/2023. On 10/30/2023, the property re-inspected. A third citation was issued, posted on the property, and sent to PBA listed owner with a compliance date of 11/9/2023. As you can see, during this time, the property has been vacant. According to neighbors that I spoke with, they said that sometimes in October or maybe end of September, the family just packed up in the middle of the night, left, and said the bank can have the house. I was unable to reach anyone. I have mowed this, I've had a contractor mow this property multiple times during the season, just to keep it in compliance. I'm unable to reach anyone. The case has been open for 113 days.
Questions? All right.
Is this a potential property foreclosure too?
Not on our end, and I've checked with city attorney. They can't find anything through the bank either.
I noticed taxes haven't been paid in a long time.
I mean, maybe they saw that coming and that's why they left, or I'm not sure. But I mean, that's all, hearsay from neighbors that they packed up and left. But there are no utilities at the house according to WRACC, and it does appear to be vacant. So
Will get worse.
and eventually we'll foreclose on it.
I'll make a motion to authorize issuance of a per-day fine citation in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until in compliance.
Second?
Dearborn, Lapointe, roll call.
Earbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Lapointe. Item number 5 is a code compliance case, case number 2023-0357. This is a request for authorization to issue a per-day fine citation for the property located at 1420 Normal View Drive. The property owner is Ryan Hamilton, and Officer Sonia Duderick will present the case.
Just a backstory or a little information that will help on this case. There are two houses on the same property, on the same parcel. The original case started at one of the houses, which is now in compliance, but it's ending up on the second one. So it was the first proactive inspection was 2/2/2023, where I noticed the exterior use of storage furniture, accumulation of trash, and I send an NOV to PBA listed owner with the compliance reinspection of 2/13/2022. On 2/13 and 2/28, a tenant has called and requested more time. On 3/1, I spoke with the property owner regarding a second structure on that property with broken windows. The house, the second structure used to have it was 318 Gale, which has now, both of them are on the same parcel of 1420 Normal View. The owner stated he would board him up that day and start the work on the vacant house shortly after. On 3/7, I re-inspected the property and it remained in violation. If you can go back a slide. If you can see there, all the windows are broken and the siding is damaged. I believe the tenant from the first structure that we had issues with, she eventually got hers in compliance and cleaned up, is the one that mentioned and said that the kids from the neighboring houses came and broke all the windows. During that time, the property was secured. but the windows were broken. On 3/9/2023, I called the property owner and advised him if the windows are not boarded or fixed by Monday, a citation will be issued and a city contractor would board up the windows. On 3/13, I went by and property remained in violation. Still a little violation on the other house as well, but huge improvement. A citation was issued and posted on the property and sent the first class and certified mail with a reinspection date of 3/23/2023, with the following violations added: a vacant structure, missing windows, missing protective treatment, a roof and drainage not maintaining good repair. So the day after the first citation, I received I had BGPD to go with me to clear the vacant dwelling, and a city contractor boarded up the house. On 3/24, so that's 10 days after we boarded up the house, I spoke with the property owner. He advised he would email me paperwork and receipt on all materials he ordered for repairs to the property. On 3/31, I have called the property owner, left a voicemail to get an update for the construction material ordered. 4/6, I re-inspected. It remained in violation. The back door was open, and it appeared that someone was inside. I've contacted BGPD to clear the house, in which they located a homeless person inside with stolen merchandise. Another citation was issued, posted on the property, and sent by first class and certified mail to PVA listed owner with a reinspection date of 4/17/2023. A city contractor was again called to the property, and the doors to the property were secured. The following violations was added to this citation: duty of maintenance private property. As you can see, the back door was clearly open. On 4/19, I re-inspected. It remained a violation. I called the property owner. He advised they were working on replacing the drywall. He ordered new windows, said it would take 3 weeks before they were delivered. On 5/10, I re-inspected. It remained in violation. I called the property owner. He advised they have cleaned up inside and would be renovating the inside, replacing the roof and gutters, and repairing siding. He's still waiting on windows. Over the following months, I inspected the property multiple times, and it remained in violation. Each time I called and or texted the property owner for an update, I have gotten no response. On 10/5, the property was re-inspected and remained in violation. A citation was issued, posted on the property, and sent by first class certified mail to PVA listed owner with the compliance date of 10/16 for broken window or boarded up windows, protective treatment, and duty of maintenance private property. So if you see the picture from before and then after, in the meantime, he did have the roof and gutters and all that replaced or fixed where it's no longer in violation. The case has been open for 290 days, and the property remains in violation.
Questions?
I'll make a motion to authorize issuance of a per-day fine citation in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until in compliance.
Second.
Point Holman. Roll call?
Earbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Item number 6 is the code compliance case, case number 2023-4098. This is a request for authorization to enter the property to demolish the structure. The property location is at 1023 State Street. Property owner Thomas R. Lewis and Officer Brad Shagorotsky will present the case.
This case is the result of structural damage and an inspection caused by fire on the 21st of July of this year. Our office was requested to respond to the scene by the Bowling Green Fire Department midday during the fire for assistance on how to best proceed with partial demolition of the involved structures to properly conduct firefighting operations. As you can see by the pictures here, these are from the day of the fire. The property in question is the second property from the right-hand side. This is the back side of that property on the day of the fire. These are in chronological order, so this starts at just before noon. Building was still on fire at that point, and this is why they needed to do some partial demolition in order to properly access the fire. Here's the front at about 1 o'clock. Later that day, about 1:30. While on scene, I made a phone contact with the property owner's wife, Miss Lewis, and explained the situation. She and Mr. Lewis on speakerphone gave verbal consent for emergency partial demolition of the structure by the on-scene contractor to properly conduct firefighting operations. Miss Lewis provided me with the name of their insurance adjuster in town and asked me to coordinate with them for the time being during the immediate aftermath. You'll see the picture here where that emergency demolition was taking place about 2:30 in the afternoon on the structure in question. Here we are at 5 o'clock. They're still fighting the fire. So it was about, I think, 14 hours that they had to fight the fire at this property and the property adjacent to it. Over the following days, weeks, and months, I corresponded numerous times with and met on scene with insurance representatives, fire investigators, cause and origin investigators to ensure the property was secured and proper processes were moving in the right direction. Also met with Mr. Lewis at the property to discuss his options and requirements under the code. Provided him at one point with a handwritten list of demolition contractors at a meeting, and also called several of those contractors and basically explained the situation and that he would be calling them to follow up for some bids or estimates in demolition. I also, at that time, suggested that he set a container to start unloading building contents and salvageable items so there would not be any holdup to repair or demolition once a contractor was chosen and the permits were obtained. And I've imparted during the whole process the importance of an expeditious timeline for repair or demolition so the building did not remain in a dangerous condition for an extended period of time. The fire was on a Friday. On Monday, I responded back to the scene and posted post-fire instruction placards and keep out placards due to the dangerous conditions. You'll see the pictures here from the following Monday, obviously of the aftermath and debris, but also the placards there throughout the building. This is the backside of the building. So if you compare, just to go back to this picture, while firefighting operations were taking place, that white container, for example, is level with the back loading dock area here, so basically ground level. And then as we come back on Monday, you can see that my left shoe there is at the ledge of about a 5-foot drop, and so that's how much water was in the building at that point during the firefighting operation. So obviously a lot of water was used. On September 18th, the property remained in violation, and a notice of violation was issued and mailed to the PVA-listed owner and address for both this property and the property next door, the Carrick Batchert Paul building. So both properties received a notice of violation for the same violations due to ongoing citizen complaints and a lengthy period that the buildings had the investigations for cause and origin and insurance had already been completed. On that notice of violation, the violations were permit required, extended period of closing of streets and sidewalks, dangerous structure or premises, demolition or failure to comply with demolition requirements, damaged building, duty of maintenance of private property, and dilapidated structures. And the listed compliance date was the 18th of October. You'll see here it was a several-page notice of violation giving clear instructions as to what needed to take place at the structure. On 9/22/23, demolition work began on the adjacent damaged property. That building was demolished and removed, and a chain-link fence was installed to prevent unintended access to the site. I continued to correspond with Miss Lewis, texting her, asking for an update, including on the 12th of October. Since there was still no permit on file, no update or communication on the status of the building, and it remained in a dangerous condition. Again, on the 17th of October, I texted with Ms. Lewis and asked for information on getting, and I'm sorry, she asked for information on getting a demolition permit. I texted her with a link to apply for that permit, and she explained to me that they were having a hard time getting contractors to call them back for the demolition work. On the 30th of October, I again texted with Ms. Lewis that the case had been open for almost 100 days and nothing had been done to the structure. No permits were on file, and the building remained in dangerous condition. Ms. Lewis responded on the 3rd of November, asking about an adjacent building to the right of this building, not the one that was affected by the fire and already demolished, but the one to the right, known as the Holland Building, or I guess owned by the Hollands, to which I responded that I did not have a case, the city does not have a case on that building. On the 6th of November, received a notification from several city personnel, including the city attorney's office and the city's human resources department, that citizens were calling the city hotline to report that bricks and debris were falling from the building onto the front sidewalk in the back alley, which was posing an immediate danger to passersby. I again texted Ms. Lewis with this update, and that the fire had been several months, that there was nothing done to clean out the contents of the building, mitigate the dangers associated with the structure, obtain a contractor permits, or otherwise do any work towards compliance. The building was still in the same condition as it had been. The property was re-inspected on the 8th of November and remained in violation. A citation was issued on that day and posted on the property, as well as sent by first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address. The compliance date was the 20th of November. The area in the front of the building was again cordoned off, so we have used Public Works cones and A-frame signs several times now to try to cordon off the front, and then I again use caution tapes, cones, and signs to try to prevent foot traffic in that area. Public Works was again called asking if they could add any additional barriers for the safety of the public. Additionally, there's a strong odor of a musty, moldy odor, and the building appears to still be full of the contents damaged by fire and or water. Violations listed were permit required, dangerous structure or premises, demolition or failure to comply with demolition requirements, damaged building, duty of maintenance of private property, dangerous objects, and dilapidated structures. On the screen here are some pictures of the day that the citation was issued. So there's the citation posted on the front of the property. So this is the left-hand side of the property. The large area there where there's a depression is where the prior building was standing adjacent to this that has since been demolished and removed. So that shared wall is what you're seeing in this picture here. This is the front left corner of the building, and you can see that the front second story there still remains in a dangerous condition with items hanging down over the sidewalk, siding and metal hanging down. This is, while I was posting the citation, looking through the windows there at the very front. So you can see this on the floor there. It appears to be green with mold and mildew and still either standing water. But all of the contents don't appear to have had any sort of clean out or any action taken to remediate any of that. Here's a side view. As you can see, there are things hanging down over the sidewalk. You can see some of the cones and other signs that we have out there. You can also see some of the loose brick on the left-hand side that we have a lot of concerns about. And really even that shared wall that's kind of towards the top of that adjacent building there, if you look right in the center of the picture, where it's kind of crumbling, it's also leaning out, and there's collapse concerns with that. Here's another view from the sidewalk, looking at the front of the building with debris and other items hanging down. Again, some of the items that had been on scene trying to cordon off the sidewalk, but if you look between the cone and the barricade there, you'll see some of the bricks that had fallen. Those are the ones that were reported to the city as being a danger to the public. Here's again that shared wall right kind of to the left of the word code that we're real concerned about falling, along with everything else. So this is the back alley of the building. It remains boarded and secured. I will say that the property owner and their insurance company did a great job. I would say maybe about 4 or 5 days after the fire of cleaning off the alley and the front sidewalk, getting it secured, getting it boarded up to prevent unintended access or entry, and that was very much appreciated. But since then, there just hasn't been a lot of action taking place. This is On the back side, so this is right above, you can kind of see in this picture, right above on the second story in the rear, there's a large piece of metal that's hanging down from the roof structure or the gutters, and it sways back and forth in the wind, and I'm certainly concerned about this falling as well for anyone that might be traveling in the alley. So currently, the property remains in violation. Fire occurred over 120 days ago. I'm going to show you some pictures. Our request is twofold. Number one, primarily is authorization from the board for a city contractor to enter the premises and install temporary fencing adjacent to the structure with the cost to be paid by the property owner. This is for the immediate safety concerns of traveling public, especially with parades and community events in the area coming up for Christmas. Secondly, and I know that Mr. Lewis is here, and I do have some more information to give you as well before Mr. Lewis speaks, but this is a very complex case. So it is certainly at the board's discretion for authorization to begin the demolition process to remove and dispose of the structure and contents in as expedient a manner as feasible, with all associated costs to be paid by the property owner. That is what the code would require, and that is what my job is to bring before the board. But again, there's a lot of complexity involved with this, so you know, after I go through this and Mr. Lewis talks, certainly that will be a decision for the board, but primarily our concern is those debris that could fall at any point and hurt someone with the Christmas parade and you know, all the different Christmas activities that are taking place. Here are pictures from today. So this is from kind of the backside of Mellow Mushroom, the parking lot across the street. So you can see the temporary chain link fencing on the left-hand side that cordons off where the other building was demolished. You can see that building that's referred to as the Holland building on the right-hand side, and here's the other building in the middle. Again, this is walking up the sidewalk. The barricades had been either, I guess, knocked down or fallen down. All the caution tape is gone, and again, it just presents a hazard. And while I was there today taking pictures, people were just walking up and down the sidewalk, and there's just bricks hanging off the front of the building. So it certainly is a concern, especially if we were to get a strong wind, a snow load on top of this, or any other conditions. It's, you know, certainly characterized as a dangerous structure. This is from the back left corner of the building, so looking across where the Carrick building used to stand. And so that is kind of the low area there was the basement of the Carrick building, and this is the basement, first and second floor of the Lewis building in question. And again, here's the front sidewalk where the barricades have fallen down, but you can still see on the left-hand side there the metal hanging down, the bricks, and other debris that actually has fallen since the 8th when the citation was posted. This is just a quick sketch of where we're requesting that a city contractor were to install fencing. So cordoning off that front area there of the front sidewalk with temporary 7-foot chain link fencing in cinder block that would basically keep anyone out from walking down that sidewalk. However, there still would be a small portion of the sidewalk on the outside of the trees where people could still safely walk past the building, and then also a small area on the backhand or the backside there where the alley is, in order to make sure that nothing were to fall and injure someone that's driving or walking there, but it still would allow vehicle access. There's a lot of vehicle access that goes in and out of there for adjacent businesses. So it should be noted that City Attorney Hillary Hightower has spoken with the property owner several times after they received the notice to appear at this hearing. The city attorney has verified some information with the insurance company that they had requested bids from the property owner and quotes on demolition from up to 3 local demolition companies to ensure that a policy rider would cover any portion of demolition costs. There are also, again, some other factors at play kind of in the background, but at least one major local demolition contractor has expressed concerns about demolition of this property without also demolishing the adjacent property at 1019 State Street at the same time. That contractor believes that demolition of the 1023 property would potentially weaken a shared wall and cause unintended collapse or structural deficiency of that adjacent property. They told the city attorney that they would not demolish, and again, this is just one contractor, but that specific contractor wouldn't even work on this property without a signed release from the adjacent property owner, basically absolving them of any responsibility if that building were to collapse while they're demolishing the other property, or for the other adjacent property to demolish at the same time. So these items are noted to demonstrate to the board and on public record that the city acknowledges the many intricacies involved with this situation and the ongoing challenges faced by the property owner. That being said, it's been 120-some days since the fire. We're certainly immediately concerned about the adjacent sidewalk and rear alley, but the building does appear to be full of all contents, and we haven't seen any action taking place in quite a period of time now. So, again, those are the two requests from staff. Number one, allowing a contractor to enter the property to do that. Our city demolition and sinkhole contractor that we do all of our board ups and demolitions is on standby literally this evening, so that if the board were to approve that, they would have that installed by between 6 and 7 tomorrow morning. They already have all of the fencing prepared. But, you know, certainly, again, I don't know if Mr. Lewis, now that he's in town, if he has other plans, and if he does, doesn't matter to us who does it. We want it done, right? So as long as the public is safe in the immediate time frame, and then there is action moving forward to demolish this structure, because it's already been sitting here for several months. We need to get things moving. So.
One question real quick. Do you know, has anybody had any communication with the third property owner, what their intent is?
No, and again, I've explained to Ms. Lewis, and the city attorney is aware too, the city doesn't have any case on that location. The fire started, I'm sorry, I do not know the cause and origin of the fire. The fire was contained, to my knowledge, to this building and the Carrick building. So, you know, regardless of where it started or what the cause and origin were, those were the two buildings that were clearly affected from the exterior of the property. And I have multiple pictures over the course of this where from the exterior there is nothing that gives us any sort of indication that the Holland building was damaged by fire, is structurally unsound, or otherwise that we would have any reason to start a code case. So we haven't had any communication with them at all. Now it sounds like structural engineers, which we have not been provided a report, and or a demolition contractor has been in the Lewis building, and they have said, and in fact, when Mr. Lewis was here back in August or September, we watched one of the demolition contractors and a cause and origin investigator, and they went up through the building in the second floor. There's a large steel beam that's up there that's, I guess, adjoining that shared wall, and so I guess that's the concern. But at the same time, there was also concern that when the building adjacent this was demolished, that this shared wall would come down, and it didn't. So, you know, obviously no one can predict, and I understand that one contractor's hesitancy, but the city does not have any case because there's no code violations present from the exterior of the property.
Is that Holland building occupied presently?
To my knowledge, it is not. To my knowledge, it's a vacant building. All the times that Mr. Lewis or I have been there, it appears to be vacant. We don't see anyone coming or going. And I believe all the electric meters on the back of that building, they're just off the left-hand side here. But I believe all the electric meters are pulled, and it's just an empty meter base. So I don't think anyone's using the building currently.
Was the contractor that demolished the Carrick building one of the three that looked at this demolition of this
Yes, that's
one?
correct. Yes.
He also the one that wouldn't do the work without a release on the Holland building?
I'm not aware of that. I just know from the city attorney that she said that that I guess one of the contractors had made that as a caveat to it. In the difficulty, she was also trying to call other, or I guess give information on other demolition contractors to Mr. and Ms. Lewis to try to help them find another contractor or other contractors to get those bids. And so that just came up in my discussions with her. I'm not sure who that was.
Our city contractor do it without any reservation?
No, I don't believe so. I believe that our demolition and sinkhole contractor would also require some sort of assurances or joint demolition.
We got the same problem either way then?
Not necessarily, because if the board were to require demolition, we would move forward with the demolition process and then approach the Hollands and get that signed with the city attorney and draft up whatever paperwork. But we have no other reason to approach the Hollands or the adjacent property and ask them to demolish their building if we don't have a code case there.
What if the Holland
I guess we'd cross that bridge when we come to it.
problem then?
Again, there's a lot there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle, there's no doubt.
I was under the impression that one contractor's being difficult, saying I'm not gonna do it till I get a release, but what you're saying is our contractor would want a release too, wouldn't do it.
My understanding is they have hesitancy as well with that shared wall, yes.
So basically, unless they're, depending on where this goes, there could be a contractor or contractors that say they'll do it without the assurances, but then there's also some that are saying that because of the perceived danger that they may want to have those. So either way, it's one or the other.
I think that's a fair assumption, yes.
Okay.
And your understanding is the Carrick building was demolished without obtaining a similar document from Mr. Lewis because of that shared wall?
Yes, I'm not aware of an agreement like that, but Mr. Lewis might speak better to that. I'm not aware of that.
Brad, we're just wanting to basically be able to shop this as well. Is that fair to say?
No, so the city has to use the contractor that we use for demolition and sinkhole that's in place. So they've already won a contract that has gone through the Board of Commissioners, so they do all of our demolitions. So there's a unit cost price. We have to go with that demolition contractor. We would just have to go through some additional, I guess, legal hoops in order to either get a release or then start a conversation with adjacent property owners to go down that road, which right now we don't have any reason to do because, you know, we don't have any reason to ask them to demolish a building that we don't have a code case on.
So you haven't asked them if they would do it without that, without
Our
a
contractor
release?
to demolish it? Yes, our contractor has said that they are very hesitant to do the demolition without having either a release or doing a joint demolition. That's correct.
Nothing starts until we make a determination tonight. Then from there, those questions and that stuff goes.
So if the board were to go in that direction, first of all, we have to send legal notice by first class and certified mail to all parties that hold any mortgage interest in the building or any insurable interest at all. So we send it to the insurance company, the mortgage company, the property owner, anyone that has any sort of interest, and then normally allow 30 days for them to either finish that demolition, or then we begin the process. And in the background, we would be, you know, kind of making those contacts. That doesn't mean that we would still have any luck within 30 days, because we can't, Mr. Lewis nor I can predict what the adjacent property owner or our contractor will be able to do. But at the same time, there's a public safety interest here where this building, I mean, any of these exterior walls could very well collapse with a strong wind or an additional snow load, and it's very concerning that with a building in this dangerous condition that we couldn't at least start demolition from the outside of the building and start pulling things away until we got to a certain point to mitigate some of this and take care of some of the contents and make some sort of dent in this. And then as that progresses, we, I guess, cross the bridge when we come to it of that shared wall. I'm not sure if the demolition contractor would be willing to do that or not.
Let me ask you a question, probably a stupid question you have the answer to, but is this delay hindering any ability to redevelop like the Carrick lot? Or is there any interest in anybody rebuilding at that location, or just too early to tell yet?
Yeah, I don't have any information on that, and I'm not sure that they would want me to share if we did, just out of their interests. But no, there's nothing preventing that. They could get a permit and build. They could sell. They could do whatever they want to do. It's a separate parcel, so it's completely different than Mr. Lewis's building or the Holland building. They're all their own parcel, so it's a completely separate property.
It would be kind of hard to build with
Agreed.
with this structure next to it.
Yeah, agreed. And so again, and the code is on the screen here, when an unsafe problem structure, not in danger of structural collapse, which, of course is up to interpretation at this point, that it is, should not be standing in a condition not to exceed 60 days from the date of condemnation, fire, or damage, or other means, or the date of release from governmental, criminal, or fire, or explosive investigation, at which time they either have to have a permit to repair or a demolition permit, and then demolitions to start within 5 days of getting that permit. Failure of the property owner to obtain those permits within that specified time or keep the structure closed and secured from the entry shall constitute permission from the city or agents of the city to demolish the building. And again, that's our job as staff to bring this to you, and where we go from there is complex.
You're asking for authorization, but hoping to not need it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's say one thing, I've talked to Hillary about this matter, and it's in the report. The county is negotiating on all these properties. When I say all these properties, it would be the Carrick Backert property, Tom Lewis's property, and the Holland property. But city government and county government both have to have procurement codes and appraisals, and if they buy something, that has to be within the appraisal process, which my understanding nobody's gotten done. Is that a fair statement of what?
I am not aware that the property is currently in the process of any sort of sale transaction.
The city attorney has also confirmed with the county judge executive offices that there have been discussions regarding potential purchase of the property.
Potential purchase, yes. But
Okay,
it is
well,
not
that's what I
currently,
was-
it's not currently pending.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lewis, if you... Okay. If you had anything you wanted to say...
Just tell the truth.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Here, I've just got to get back to Louisville sometime tonight. I could argue with some of the things that Brad said. I disagree with him. And in the fact that he's saying now that he doesn't know that Judge Gorman wants to buy that property and build a building alongside the courthouse would be not the truth. He knows that. And we all know it. Now, you all know it if you didn't know it. And every time I've called, excuse me?
I said that I am not aware of any pending sales transaction. I don't know who's interested in what property. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
I told you.
I'm sorry?
I told you myself. And you were standing right next to me
being sold?
when his young assistant was standing right next to us, Brad,
Yes, sir.
and he was over there on behalf of Judge Gorman. You know he was.
Yes, sir.
Well, don't mislead these gentlemen. They're doing the thing.
How am I misleading by saying that the property, so is the property being sold to the county?
Let's keep this to the facts as they may be, okay? So...
I'm telling you the facts. I'm telling you, and he was there, and he knows this.
Let's continue on with what you were saying as far as where we go from here.
Well, if you will just tell me who to hire to put a fence around the place, I'm more than happy to do that. I told Hillary Hightower that when she called. I'm not trying to get somebody hurt. You all know that. My Lord, I was judge here for 25 years. I wouldn't want to hurt anybody. Now, as far as the property itself, it's full of my property down in the basement. I mean, I've got all my family stuff. I've got cherry furniture. I've got furniture that came from Boonesboro with my family, and it's still in there. Now you say, well, why don't you just go down there and get it? Brad says, just run on down there and get a little box and hand me. So what am I going to do? Get some minions to go under there. The only place that's dangerous in Tom's building and my building is the elevator shaft. That's where it's dangerous, where it's going to fall. There's only one way you can get into my basement. That's through the elevator shaft. I've been in there 25 times, back and forth. It didn't fall on me, but Judge Wilson was with me. He wouldn't go in there because he was afraid he'd get killed. And I don't blame him. But I had to get some stuff, I had to get some of my things out. But it's got to the point where I'm not going to take my boys down there to get it out, and I'm not going to send somebody else's boys down there to get it out, unless I know it's safe, or unless they know what they're doing. Now, I don't know who the city's excavator, he never mentioned it. It's got to be Larkin Ritter, but I don't know that. I guess it's just the mystery. Because nobody will tell me who can get to do this job. Larkin tore down Tom's part of the building, and I talked to him about mine, and he said he wouldn't give me a bid. He wouldn't tell me how much it was that he was going to charge. My insurance company, and I have insurance to pay it, and he won't tell me. So, and my insurance company won't pay because they don't have somebody that's giving them a bid or giving them an estimate as to how much it costs. And he said, well, how much? And I go, I don't know. And Brad knows all this. And so I'm caught in a place where I do not have a contractor. The only violation that I have, I'm not going to say that it's not dangerous. I agree with all that. And I'm happy to put a fence up. If that, whatever good that's going to do. I know the Christmas parade and all. I've watched it out of the windows of that store enough times. But I'm happy to do that. So if somebody would just tell me who I can get to tear the building down, or get the contents out of it, either way, or do part of it, whatever you all want to do. I'm happy to do all that. What you all have me for is a violation of paying money to get a permit, and I can't do it because I'm not a contractor. And I can't get a contractor to do it because maybe the city's contractor is probably Larkin Ritter, that's just my guess, won't do it. And then I can't get any kind of bids for my insurance company, so I'm going to have to pay for it myself out of my pocket, even though I have insurance. If you all could help me out, I'd love it.
Sir, you know this community. You know contractors. I mean,
There's only two that I understand that are here in this county that do this kind of work, that do this type of excavation. Now, that's my understanding, and I've talked to a number of people, including Judge Gorman. And Larkin's one of them, and then the other one is Greg Carey. And I called Greg and asked him to go down and give me an estimate, because I did, because Brad asked me. Said, here's the guy to call, and I called him. I haven't heard back from him, but that's just where I am. I'm caught in a dilemma. And let me just throw this last thing in. I want to get the building torn down. I'm happy as a clam to have it torn down. I want my insurance company to pay what I've paid for insurance. And I have to have it done before January the 17th or they won't pay anything. So they say. They just told me that last week. So I've been walking around in a lot of smoke going around that I can't see through, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm asking people to help me, and I asked Brad to help me, and I asked Judge Gorman, I've asked a number of people to help me out and give me advice on which kind of people I should have, and that these people, and yes, I used to know all of them, but they're dead. I've been gone for 20 years. I'm sorry. And I loved them. They're my buddies, you know. Scotty's still alive, but he's just not working. But they're just not around anymore. Goat and all those guys that I knew. So if you'll tell me who they are and who would do it, I would be more than happy to do it, whatever I'm supposed to do. That's the advice that I need from you gentlemen. And of course, I know it's not your job, but the only violation I have is not getting a permit, which I cannot get because I'm not a contractor.
Brad, what is the difference in him just using who we were going to use anyways? I mean,
What do you mean difference?
why is it kept a secret?
Why is what being kept a secret? Who the city contractor is? Mr. Lewis has never asked who the city contractor is. I'm happy to, it's Scott and Ritter. That's a matter of public record. It's gone through Board of
It's the
Commissioners.
first time I've heard it right
So
there.
why won't they do it? I
That's
mean,
the first time you've heard that because you've never asked that.
But why would they do it for us but not for him? I'm just trying
Because
to.
they have a signed contract with,
So can
with
they
the city.
not do it for him?
I
Or they're just
suppose. I
refusing
can't
to?
speak for Scott and Ritter. I don't.
it sounds like if they won't give him a price, you know.
So can we, I mean, what is the price? I mean, can we not, I mean, what is he going to be charged?
As far as if the city does it, it's a square foot price. I believe it's $3 and I don't want to say the wrong number, but I mean, it's in a contract. And so there probably would be an overage because of the contents of it, and we would basically send an invoice and then place a lien on the property if that isn't paid within 90 days. We would much rather
Well, I
Mr.
guess
Lewis
the
take care of
only,
it.
I mean, you just don't really have many options. I mean, if we can get it done, I mean, is there a problem with us doing it?
Well, my insurance won't pay for it, so that's whatever it is.
I
If it
want
costs
your-
$60,000, then I'll just have to pay it out of my pocket. So that's doubling it up. My insurance is gone too because I won't,
Why do you say the insurance won't pay for it if we?
because he wants to have bids. He wants to have two
But
people.
you can't get bids anyways.
Well, I keep telling him that. Tell me, that's what I've been
You're
telling
going to be
Brad.
stuck either way. If, I mean,
Well, if somebody's
Is that
going to do
correct?
it, they're going to send me a bill ultimately, and when they do, then I'll know what that bill is, and if I'd known it before then the insurance guy would pay it. At least they pay up to whatever amount of money that I have as insurance.
Did you say a minute ago sometime in January 7th, or the
January
date
17th.
that they won't pay after that day, your insurance
That's what
company?
he says. That's what he said. He just, of course, you know, he might get sued. He didn't tell me that until last week, because I'd have tried to do something else. And on top of that, of course, as I say, Judge Gorman wants to buy it. And he told me, don't do a thing, Tom, just wait, and we're going to figure it all out. Okay. And he's talking to Mr. Holland on the adjoining building. But I haven't talked to Mr. Holland because Judge Gorman's talking to him.
I think you can understand the city's predicament. They've got a damaged, dangerous building that they're getting
Well, no, I
complaints
don't
on.
disagree, Gene. I'm with you. And I wish that I could go down there myself, but I'm an old man, and I've been under that building back and forth enough, and I'm not going to ask somebody else to go in there and put themselves in danger. Now, there's still some odds and end property that Brad took pictures of there that I can get off the first floor, but it's the basement where the property, I can't get it out. I've got, concrete makers, and I got different kinds of lawn furniture, not lawn tractors and one thing and another down there. And it's just all that cherry furniture. It's just, I had 29 pianos in there as well. So.
Well, I'd hate to be the one moving it, but,
That's exactly right.
can we not, I know you don't have it now, Brad, but can we not give him that bid so he can submit it to his insurance company? Then both parties are happy? I know there's a time frame here, but, that is how insurance works. If he goes and gets this done, there is a risk that they're not gonna pay for it, because not him, but if we do it.
I don't know, I guess the difficulty there is that I don't know that Scott and Ritter gives the same price to the public as they do under this government
Whatever
contract.
the price is,
Sure.
he has to have something to work with.
I have that, Hillary has that, it's public record. Anybody can give that, it just hasn't been requested at this point, so.
What you're saying, we don't have a bid from them, we have a contract with specified payment.
Which is a certain amount per square foot with an overage based on a lot of contents, like in a situation like this. So it would be based on the standing contract price, which is $3 and whatever per square foot.
This is
plus-
just for the fencing, is that correct, or are you talking?
No, I'm
about
talking about for
demolition
demolition.
too? Okay.
So,
But what is important, right? Are we just trying to get the fence up? And then we can decide later if if he's gonna sell it or if he's gonna demolish? What's
That would certainly
crucial?
be ideal, but if the building is demolished in short order, then we don't
And
need
you're
the fence.
saying you gotta demolish it by
I
the
think we're-
17th though, correct?
Say it again.
But you're also saying you have to demolish it by the 17th.
Right.
Or you're not gonna get paid, so
That's
you're on a time
that's
crunch.
what my insurance man just informed me of that.
so
So I'm happy to get it done, and if they want to do it tomorrow, hooray. But I just want to make sure my insurance man knows, so I can say, and here's what it is, and do you accept this? Or will you do it? And he'll say yes or no. Then that'll
Do you
be.
do you know for certain if the city does it, your insurance won't reimburse you, or they told you that?
I'm sorry, Gene.
Do you know for certain that your insurance company will not pay if the city demolishes?
No, I don't know that at all.
Okay.
No, I have no idea. And that's something that I'd certainly ask him. I could ask him and say, hey, here it is, and this is what but they should be able to come up with some sort of a estimate as to what it costs. And there's a term that is used, it's a term of art that's used in this type of business. It's not estimate, it's not bid, and David, do you have a clue?
Estimate would be.
But that's what see, you're
Well,
just like me.
there's a
You're-
cost plus, there's a cost plus.
No, Brad, what am I looking for? What's my word? It's the word that they,
No,
it's like a quote.
Proposal,
What?
proposal,
Yeah, now, it's not it there either. It's a Norman word, I just can't, I'm having one of those senior moments, I'm an old guy.
a bid.
Well, bid is what I would do, and all that makes sense to me. When I was talking to Hillary, I'd say the same thing. And she said, no, but it's this other word, and I went, oh, well, it means the same thing, I can't tell the difference.
Have you,
But
what all
that's what- see-
contractors have you contacted?
Of course, Larkin, I talked to him, and I talked to Greg Gary, both, and I
Have you
talked
tried
to
Stewart and
Walt-
Ritchie? Stewart and Ritchie? Have you tried Stewart and Ritchie?
No, they don't do it. Stewart and Ritchie don't do it. I would be happy to call Buster, but they don't do this. They don't do this
Somebody
kind of
from
work.
there told you that?
Yeah, that's what,
What
that's
about
what
Scott
Larkin told
Murphy
me.
and Daniel?
Everybody's told me that they
What
don't do
about
it.
Mike Murphy? Have you contacted them?
I have not contacted Mike. He's my next door neighbor.
I bet you they'd do it. Scott Murphy and Daniel.
Well, I'd be happy to do it. I'm happy to talk to Mickey or Mike, either one. I know them, but everybody told me they don't do it. They said Greg Gary does it and Larkin Ritter, only the two. And that was Hillary, I think, told me that.
Has Greg Gary visited the site with you?
No, but I called him on the phone and asked him to go down there, and he said he would. I called him back, but I haven't heard from him.
Since you have this issue with the insurance company, do they have anybody, I mean, do we have Lexington, Louisville, have they got anybody else that they would recommend?
Oh, they didn't. I just think they're not really making much of an effort, Gene. You know how people think of lawyers. You think the same way of these insurance companies. See, if he does nothing, they just keep the money. You understand? So he just kind of went, "That's for you, pal." So he's not really my insurance agent. He's the insurance agent for Westfield.
So here's what I'm.
And one last thing I want to be sure and point out to you gentlemen as well. They would not allow me to go in that building for at least a month after the fire, because they said they were trying to prove that the fire somehow was incinerated by me in the music store, which is what burned up the other part of the building. Well, they did everything they possibly could do, and they couldn't prove it because it didn't happen. I mean, it's just that simple. But they kept me restrained from going in because they wanted to investigate, and they were afraid I was going to take something and change it around or do something, because it was, which I never did. I unlocked the door for them every time and went down there and walked around with them. But that's another thing. Yes, it has been that long, and it's going to be 180 days on the 17th of January. That's when the insurance runs out.
So here's what I see. We're on short term and then shorter term. Shorter term is we need to have fencing in that area to protect people.
Told Hillary that's fine. But now, can you tell me who to get it with?
I'm gonna get to that. So we need to get that part figured out tonight, in my opinion, since we've got Christmas parade and other things potentially coming around the area. We get that part figured out. As far as the demolition, since we've mentioned other options, there's a quote that's hanging out there that you need. That needs to be worked on in the coming days, whether that's sitting down and having a conversation directly with Brad and that group, with contractors or whatever. But to me, and this is me personally, we need to take care of public safety first and get everybody else who has no idea what's going on in this meeting, having these conversations, make sure they're taken care of, and then we can make sure that you're not stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and the city's not stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I'm happy to do it.
So that's where I think we need to focus this conversation. Let's get the fencing part figured out. Let's get that part taken care of, and the rest of that can be conversations that take place, because you're on a time crunch, I know, and obviously we're trying to get this done too. So that way we can get those things done in short and shorter order. So that's where I think we need to go with this. So with that being said, let's talk about the fencing part of it. Let's talk about what that needs to look like so we can get that part moving.
I went down there and checked the fencing out this afternoon that they put around Tom's building, and it's just they don't have tires under it, but it's a big wired pipe that holds up the chain link fence, and you can kind of scoot them around. It's just like a barricade, a police barricade. So that's going all the way around his, and they can certainly take the same thing and extend it on both sides of mine. I don't know where it came from. It may come from Larkin Ritter. I don't know, but it's a commercial type fence. I don't want to buy it. I don't need a fence, but I'd like to rent it from someone. But if I knew who, but I don't know who. I've been gone too long.
Would you object to the city contractor putting up that fence tomorrow morning?
Scott Ritter is the contractor that we would use for any of that, do the city contract.
Said they could be ready.
I told Hillary that it was fine with me when I talked to her last week.
So if we voted to go ahead and get the fencing up, that could be up in the morning, and then the rest of this could be discussed as far as the contractors for demolition, figuring out if the adjoining wall, how that would be, basically the bones of how that would come down, whether both buildings come down, what that looks like. But we could at least get the fencing through Scott and Ritter taken care of ASAP, correct?
I don't know who makes that call. Is it Brad?
We would vote on it, and then if we vote on it, the city would, through Scott and Ritter, would have that fencing up in the morning, so that way those areas of the building are protected. And then from there, the conversation on what's the quote, what are the contractors that will do this, can continue on, but that we can at least get that portion of this process taken care of.
It's the word, the quote.
That
That's the magic word. You just said it, I couldn't think of it. That's it. It's a quote. Not a bid, not an estimate, it's a quote.
Mr. Lewis is
Because
also,
Larkin told me point blank, I don't give bids, but he didn't say I give quotes. He just said, I don't give bids. And I went, well, my insurance company wants a bid. And he went, so we'll see.
so the board only has to authorize the fencing if Mr. Lewis is not willing to consent to do that on his own. So if Mr. Lewis is willing to call the contractor tonight, the same contractor that we would use anyway, and make an arrangement to financially take care of that and put the fence up at the morning, then the city taxpayers don't have to pay for that fence. I mean,
I'll pay for it. I'm gonna pay, whatever it is, I'll pay, Brad.
that's what
I'm
I'm
not
saying.
trying to act like I'm not gonna
We
pay.
may
No,
be
man,
stuck,
that's what I
though.
just said.
We may be stuck, though, if he doesn't agree to do it for him, though.
put up the fencing?
If, correct.
So you're saying if Scott Ritter
If
doesn't agree
Scott
to do
Ritter
the
turns around and
fencing?
says, well, I'm not gonna do it for you, I'll do it for the city of Bowling Green, we didn't vote on it, then we're stuck.
True.
You said you were fine with the city doing it, with its contract, with the
Absolutely.
contractor? at
Sure,
your
absolutely, yes,
expense.
sir. Yes, sir, I'm fine with
So
it.
that's motion number 2, as I read it.
So yeah, so that would, yeah, if that's correct, that would be option number 2. All right, so with that being said, I'll make the motion to authorize a city contractor to install temporary fencing adjacent to the property, but not to demolish, remove the structure at this location.
Second.
Can I have one question or comment
Go
to your
right ahead.
motion? I think I approve the motion as well, but do we need some kind of a time frame? We're going to come back and look at this again? Because I don't think anybody wants that building there another 60 days.
Yeah, that
I hope
would.
it's gone by then.
That would be dependent on if we have a December meeting. So that would be, we'd have to, if that's the case, we would probably necessitate us having a December meeting in order to revisit this and see where we're at that point. Am I correct? Okay. Okay. So,
Or a special call meeting early January if we have to or something.
yeah.
Probably gonna be
Special call. Okay.
agree tonight if you so chose. Zoom still works, and we could do it that way. I'm just trying to facilitate.
That's a good idea.
So it's been motioned, and which one could y'all, I think okay, LaPointe, Dearborn, LaPointe, roll call,
Dearborn,
yes.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis, I'd be shocked if you called Mike Murphy and he couldn't give you the name of 2 or 3 contractors that would do that. I'd be shocked if he couldn't give you that.
I didn't call Mike, and I've known him, for years. He's about,
Even if they don't do it, they have to have somebody to do it for them.
I'm sure he would say Larkin.
But
Now that I know he's the city contractor.
I think you should give it a try, just a
Okay,
suggestion.
well, I appreciate it, and I'll just do it. I'll call him. I haven't got anything better to do. I'm retired.
All right, so we will figure out the next step, but the next part, we can still start having those conversations and start.
Who will I
figuring
be
that out.
in contact with? Would it be Brad, or is it going to be Hillary?
At you, Brad?
Either one of us or both of us. I don't have any of your contact information, only for your wife, so I don't have an email
but
address
she's
or
the-
phone number or anything for you.
I
so.
don't carry a phone most of the time.
So, yeah, that's
And
what I'm saying.
When
Hillary
I don't
might be-
answer, then people take it personally. They go, well, I called you 3 times and you didn't answer. I'm your cousin. Why don't you? I don't carry a phone on me. I'm retired and I don't care.
Hillary might be the
don't
better
follow.
point of contact at that point then. It seems like she's been
Call
able to.
Terry. Yes, she answers you every time, I think. Doesn't she?
No, I'm saying if you would rather Hillary do that, and then that way you
Oh,
and
no,
Hillary
Hillary can
correspond.
call her or call if she can
Right.
She'll tell me, or I'll call Hillary. I've got her number on the speed dial.
Either way.
If I need to. Somebody needs to let me know if I need, I don't want to bother her. But I mean, if you want me to call her tomorrow, I'll call her tomorrow.
Say what?
I don't know, whatever you want me to say.
I would suggest this. Since you've got her number, I would say go ahead and call her tomorrow and start working on the plan and
Thank you.
whatever that may
I'll
look
do
like.
it. I'll tell her I was directed by the board to give her a
Yes.
call.
So we can get
Happy
the
to do
conversation
it.
started.
There you
Yes.
go.
But Brad, is there any possibility our contractor could give you some kind of an estimate?
I mean, again, so just going through the demolition contract, the base price alone for the demolition by square foot and the overage for the items inside, just doing quick math, is $34,029, and that's not, the difficulty then is that there's also heavy equipment involved that is by hour, and so there's a unit cost price for that. If it's $118 an hour, none of us can predict how many hours that's going to take, but, you know, Mr. Lewis said earlier, $60,000. I don't know if that's not pretty close to where it would be, but again, I don't, Scott and Ritter would really have to give us a better idea, who does this every day, of, yeah, this is how many hours we would need this equipment and this equipment, because each of those, you know, if it's $118 an hour for an excavator and $150 for a truck, and they need 3 of each of those, I mean, that's exponentially more, you know, than I can just sit here and pencil out.
I'm glad I got to share this with you gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. And yes,
Thank you, sir.
It's been going crazy. All right, thank you.
all right. Now moving to the comments and announcements section. This is usually the time of the year where we discuss if we're going to have a December meeting or not. So usually we don't have a December meeting. We had just talked in this instance of maybe foregoing that December meeting and having a January special call, in this instance to follow up with this compliance issue and the building. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'm fine either way.
Okay.
I'm fine either way.
So I will make a motion to cancel the December meeting, but to hold a special call meeting in January to address this code compliance issue.
Can be by,
And it can be by Zoom.
Second.
All right, Dearbone, LaPointe, roll call.
Earbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
All right, and Brad, you have an announcement, introduction.
So with us tonight, we have 2 of our 3 new staff members. We have Will Meng, who is one of our new code compliance officers. Will is here in the front row. He was born and raised here in Woodburn, Kentucky, on a farm not far from Bowling Green, and has called Bowling Green home most of his life. He has 2 kids, a bunch of animals. He loves animals. He worked for WKU for about 16 years as a general merchandiser, and now is looking forward to coming to serve the citizens of Bowling Green in this capacity. So we welcome Will. And also we have Catherine with us. Catherine Collier is one of our new animal control officers. Her and Jessica Ferris are the 2 new animal control officers. Jessica was going to be with us tonight and wasn't able to, so she will be here in January, and we'll introduce her. But Catherine is originally from Boston, Massachusetts. She's lived here in Bowling Green for about 4 years. She was a dog trainer for 15 years and also worked with racehorses all over the country for about 7 years. And she has a wealth of knowledge with animals, and the city is really lucky to have her in this capacity. Already in a period of about 3 weeks, she has gotten her Animal Control Officer 1 and 2 certifications, which normally takes people about a year, and she's done it in 3 or 4 weeks. So really happy to have both Catherine and Will with us.
Well, welcome to you both. We look forward to working with you. Do we have anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Well, actually, I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Dearbone, Harmon, roll call.
Earbone,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Lapointe.
Yes.
See you next year. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
So we'll watch for